Yeah, we are live, doctor.
So, welcome back and a very good evening and a chilly evening today in Hyderabad. And we have a very beautiful speaker today from Maldives. Uh, she has really put us into a different perspective because the topic today is on role of a nutritionist in hospital industry. Because we were thinking that nutritionists are always placed in hospitals or on the clinical side, or they may be practicing on their own. But nutrition field has a number of addresses, and we can say that it is uh, beyond sky. So it is not sky is the limit, but it is beyond sky. So wellness has a huge number of addresses, and this is one of that. And to introduce today's speaker, Pranati, I will hand over to Mayuri to introduce Pranati for us today. Mayuri.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Janki. And good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another interesting and power-packed episode of Tuesday Tea Talks. So we are here today, as Dr. Janki said, we have we have like beyond the sky, there is no limit actually to the opportunities that we have as a nutritionist. And this young lady here, Pranati, is here to address us with regards to the role of nutritionist in hospitality. So here I would like to read out her bio in her own words. These are her words, which I'm going to read now. uh, Pranti Bolapragada did her master's in food and nutrition, and I have learned many of life's most profound lessons through the stories, struggles, and triumphs of my guests. Inspired daily by values of my faith and my family, I find immense fulfillment in helping people lead healthier, happier lives. And currently she's working in Joyali Being Wellness Retreat based in Maldives. I oversees the vertical of nutrition here. Have been into this hospitality industry from past few years, and yes, this indeed I would like to mark my presence here to flag the dietetics profession for more strong. So these are her words. So I welcome dietitian Pranati onto Tea Talks show, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for the lovely introduction. So, firstly, Dr. Janki, ma'am, you were like one of the biggest inspiration for all the young nutritionists across Telangana, and it's really my honor to be, sharing the screen with you. As I was saying earlier, you stood as a pillar for the entire dietetic profession in Hyderabad and Telangana, and in fact, whole India, I would say. And you getting, I mean, recognized by you is something which I always cherish these moments forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for a very lovely, encouraging, good words for me.
Thank
We
you.
however long we go now, however long, how many number of years we put in into our careers, we always need that motivation and encouraging words every time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, you can share your screen. You want to talk or you want to do the PPT?
Anything would be fine.
So you have PPT ready with you? PowerPoint, you are presenting PowerPoint, or shall we
I
ask
would like
question?
to talk.
You want to talk?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So wellness industry is definitely a beautiful industry, unlike in hospitals where we see sickness is there around, and we have a lot of stress, not because of the work, probably by looking at patients. We definitely have that stress. We'll be stressed at the end of the day, and but in hospitality industry, it is a little bit different. You have to be very pleasant and nice, and it is not sickness. So,
Yeah.
what is the main difference between hospital and hospitality industry?
Yeah. Firstly, it's there is a thin line between a hospital dietitian and a retreat dietitian. This thin line is all about going into the guest needs, going into the client needs, and we meet various kind of nationalities guests all across the globe. So the role of dietitian in hospitality is more like a hospital dietitian, but then in hospital dietitian is like, the people get admitted in the hospital when they are sick, when they get admitted when they no longer have control on them with regards to anything in their medical related stuff. So they come and they admit, and that time what we actually as a hospital dietitian is like, they give, yes, of course, they give priority to the food and nutrition, but more than that, since they are bedridden in the hospitals, the medication, the treatment wise injections or any other kind of stuff will play extremely important role when compared to the diet. But
Mm.
whereas in hospitality, it's all about like knowing yourself. Like people come, like I'm placed at various kind of wellness retreats I've been working. So these wellness retreats, to somebody as a lay perspective, if I have to cut short it and tell, this is the places where people come and explore themselves, and people who want to relax, regenerate themselves. So this is the right place for them to stay for 10 days or 15 days, and then they know themselves where they are actually, what is that lacking in them. So we provide them the dietary recommendations, what are they supposed to have from getting up early in the morning to going to the bed, and then we coordinate with the culinary department, and then we provide them. So after 10 days, I mean, there are various goals which they come in when they come with us initially. It can be weight management, it can be just relaxation or regeneration, it can be a detoxification. So we also do like gut cleansing procedures with the help of food and that. So on and all, food plays here an extremely important role when it comes to these kind of wellness based retreat. So it's like a holistic way of approach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, great. Yeah, really nice to know. So, you have mentioned about the gut cleansing and
Mhm.
detox. Tell us more about them.
Yeah, sure. So, all most of the wellness retreats have a SOP, which is a standard operating procedure, that generally we don't use any kind of invasive techniques to cleanse the colon,
Hmm.
unlike in hospitals. So we able to eliminate the toxins out of the body with the help of food. So, like, by doing intermittent fasting, or by sticking ourselves only to fruit and vegetable based diet, or a juice fasting, or different kind of fastings and all of these things. So with this, what happens is that we can able to flush out the toxins from the body, thereby we are creating greater absorption in our body. So
Hmm.
by doing this way, their entire well-being will be getting more enhanced. So it's not just about food here, it's also about the treatment, the spa treatments what they undergo, like Ayurvedic spas like Shirodhara or Abhyanga, these kind of things, or another reflexology, foot reflexology, or any other abdominal related belly fat reduction kind of treatments. Again, it's not invasive or something with the massages or something, it's only with the proper pure herbal based therapies. So
Hmm.
with that, and with the amount of physical activities what they involved in, with the amount of food, so it's like a whole retreat. It's like a whole package wherein the client would get benefit out of it, not just internally but externally. Well-being, mental well-being is taken care, colon cleansing is happening, as we all know that gut brain axis. So with all these things, they really get benefit out of it after the due course of time.
So, at the end of the holiday, they'll
Mhm.
go refreshed, regenerated, and happy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And one most important thing about the retreat centers is like, uh,
Mhm.
all of us have an idea, or many of us think that it costs a bomb.
Hmm.
So, what do what do you say about the cost? So, the costs
Mhm.
are worth it, or the how? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would say that, like everybody of us, we do work, we also need some sort of vacation. So everybody of us been taking vacation, we go to pilgrimage, or we go to any other spiritual places or religious places once in a while with the family, to just relax and get those positive energies from those religious places and stuff like that. So this is also something, to gift back yourself some sort of spiritual journey, I would say, And you need not have to do it very regularly. Even if you do once in a year, that would still, give you more of thing. And I personally always encourages the client that take this as a learning experience. Like the clients become completely turn around like a students when they are with us here. So
Hmm.
it's more like a getting aware of your body, getting awareness about your whole from top to toe. So in order to know all about these things, one must have to really spend a little of their savings. In terms of cost in India, if I would say, yeah, it again depends on, because it's hospitality, it's hotel kind of thing. It keeps fluctuating. The room rates gets fluctuating depending upon the off season and on season. But if you would prefer to go on an off season, then you will have to really spend at least about some 2 lakhs rupees for some good 10 night stay.
Hmm.
But I must highlight that it's worth undergoing that than to spend on a hospital bills.
Great.
Great.
That this last
Line.
sentence I really liked, and we
Right.
can underline that. Spend
Very
two
true.
lakhs happily instead of spending 2 lakhs in the hospital.
Yeah.
Very true.
Uh, but that may not answer the entire health system, but definitely it gives some way and
Absolutely.
insight into our own system, as you said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the programs are like planned to um, look into your own self. Are there any particular plans there, and what is your role there?
Yeah.
But
So
before
they.
before this, I
Mhm.
want I want you to tell us about the retreat center that you are working. Joali being Joali,
Yeah.
what is mean by Joali?
Yeah,
What
so
it is?
it's like living the life with joy.
Mhm.
So it's based in Maldives. So it's a pure wellness retreat. So basically, in any of the retreats, a retreat is nothing but a program, a package. So wherein everything is inclusive in that, your food, your room, whatever the consultant gives you, it's all kind of inclusive of your that specific package, I would say. And here, yes, there are different kind of, not just here, in any of the wellness retreats across the globe, they will have their own certain kind of kind of packages which they actually sell. We call it as retreat package, is something which is not a very clinical terminology to call, so but that's why we call it as a retreat programs. So this will be like, which starts from 7 nights, 10 nights, 15 nights, 28 nights as well sometimes.
Okay.
So this is purely based on like how much the client wants to spend time with us, how much he can able to afford, how much his body needs to cope up and to regenerate, to relax and to give back. So that way. So I mean, we see different kind of people, like who are like extremely obese, like especially we have different kind of travelers, solo travelers, who are generally in a good position in their company, like a CEO and all, where they have been working for so long round the clock, and they no longer have time to focus on themselves. And then this is the time they got break, they unwind themselves, and then this is very precious for them, this stay will is going to be. And then for them, it's like, if they are overweight, we try to manage the weight, not just about the weight but overall well-being of that specific client. And then somebody who has skin related issues, somebody who have digestive related issues, somebody who has any other sort of thing, we do not, I mean, any kind of wellness retreat do not deal with a chronic health diseases, because this is a wellness center but not a clinic per se. So we just heal them with the kind of things what we have over these retreats.
Okay. So, uh, any questions from you, Mayuri? I want to. I
Yeah.
asked some other question. No,
Yeah. Let's continue that question and then I'll ask the questions,
what was
doctor.
that?
No, regarding the role of
Yeah,
dietitian's role over there at retreat.
in the
Yeah.
retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the role would be upon arrival of the any specific client. They would have a consultation with me. So a detail and our consultation will tells us about the entire their past medical history and the current health status, the genetic practically if they have any sort of diseases, and we do couple of scans and everything, and based on that, we'll get a fair idea as to what client needs, what is he expecting, what is his goals to achieve during this stay and stuff. And my role would predominantly be to curate a dietary plan for them, from getting up early in the morning to going to the bed, what all he or she supposed to have, like upon wake up, breakfast, mid morning, lunch, evening snack, dinner, bedtime. So what are these things which he has to consume? Again, it depends. It's not something which is a restrictive diet or a bland diet. We do not confine ourselves to any branch of science. I mean, I'm generalizing this throughout all the retreat, what it's happening, not just
Mm.
over here what I am doing it. So this is what generally happens in most of the wellness retreats across the globe. So they don't generally confine themselves to any specific branch of science like Ayurveda or naturopathy or allopathy or Unani, like this. But I personally take principles from all of these branch of science, and then add some ancient wisdom to it, and then give them in a modern way of approach, and holistic and yet sustainable way of living. So it's not that if a client is staying with us for 10 nights and departing, and we no longer see each other, there will be a constant follow-ups, and it's more like a workshop culture kind of thing, where we educate
Okay.
them as to how practically it is possible for anybody to follow any specific diet back home. So everybody cannot afford 10 days every single year, so we have to give them teach them something so that they can go back home and practice in a more sustainable way. So my role is also something same like this thing, where we have constant workshops. The consultation would no longer be like as a consultant and as a medical practitioner, as a patient or a guest, but it's more like I'll have my board, and then I literally draw them. Where is your colon, where is your gut cleansing happens, how your toxins gets eliminated from your body. So it's like everything we explain as if a degree student lecturer is explaining to a student. So that way guest would go back and remember something, at least 10% of what we taught here. If he can able to follow that, that would be really a big achievement for us as a nutritionist, as a society as a whole.
That's great. That is really something like, letting them know how easy it is to follow a particular
Yeah.
pattern of diet, and then letting them to practice back home, getting back home. That is a very good
Yeah.
idea. I mean, I never thought that this kind of uh, arrangement or this kind of practice is there in the retreats. All I know is there is a spa, and
Mm.
you can order any food what you want. I mean, I
Yeah.
never thought it food is curated for you. And then um, do you have a daily menu, or how? Because it may be 7 days, 10 days, 28 days. Uh,
Yes.
Based on how is it a daily menu, or how it will be planned?
It is a daily menu where every nutritionist would meet the client on everyday basis and take their consent of that you
Mhm.
are going to have, for example, tomorrow morning you'll have this oat porridge with some green juice, and then for lunch some patty with pulao or something. So we do take the client consent before we present them, because I somewhere personally strongly believe that until and unless somebody their gut and their brain has to be connected, they should know what they are going to eat in next couple of days. Unlike if it's not synced well, then the absorption will go into haywire. I mean, we cannot force somebody to have some food for
Mhm.
me is personally is emotion. We cannot steal away anything from your plate. So before we
Great.
put something on your plate, we must ensure that at least 50% of your dietary recall, what you're used to eating back home, has been accommodated even here, so that you don't disconnect completely yourself from what you are. So that way we balance out, and we give them, if the choices of the client back home is really disaster food choices, that's when we try to make them aware of the pros and cons behind eating that specific food and stuff like this. That's when we put slowly steadily into our healthier choices.
Nice.
Nice. So
Food
actually
is an
my
emotion.
yeah, my question
Yeah.
was in relation to this only actually. So
Okay.
that's what, like generally people go for a holiday or this thing is, just to enjoy and unwind and everything. How much of the percentage of the people who shows interest towards this, and how are they
Mhm.
going to I mean, the detox diet, whatever you're saying, will they
Mhm.
really follow, or are they? I mean, holiday is something like we enjoy, we binge, and we do everything. In
Mhm.
generally this thing. But how is that you going to manage, and how is that is different when it comes to retreat and all? I wanted to
Yeah.
know this, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not easy, I would say, to get to convince somebody about their food habits. Like we may not be able to follow if someone tells us to follow some diet for more than 3 days. But having said that, they pay us. They pay so much. It's extremely expensive thing. One wellness retreats are way too expensive than our normal luxury hotels, I would say. But there are serious clients who comes in across. It's not easy to deal with the clients. They really are like, a lot of mood swings. They always
Yes.
have these things, we are paying so much, but then in return we get some sort of these kind of diets and stuff like that. We are in a holiday. Yes, during my initial days of career in hospitality, I would go blind to answer these questions. But over a period of time, I did gain some confidence and experience. Look, you are here for a purpose. You are here to achieve your goal. And like we as a consultants are qualified to deal with such kind of cases, to deal with psychological thing. That's when I've studied the food psychology. That's when I've ventured in myself into studying something about human psychology, how you can take them to listen to me. So that's when like I gained some confidence and knowledge towards this. And slowly operationally every single day, when you see some odd number of guests, then I got used to it. I mean, we make them understand that they still have a choice. It's not that any retreat would not tell them to strictly rigidly follow our dietary recommendations. But we take their consent before even anything happens after the reservations. So we take their consent, what they actually want to achieve. So truly, if the person is spending that much, they are super highly educated. They are all coming with really good back in Lonavala, we used to have Bollywood actors and everybody of these larger chunk of group of people who are like big influences and all. So they are all educated. They know what's the purpose behind coming to these kind of places. If they don't want to come to this place, they would have gone to any other five-star property and would have spent their entire holiday. So that's when, if the genuine client, we just have to hit the genuine clientele, the kind of clientele what we hit is all they would listen to us.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, anyone in audience, if you have any questions with regards to the role of nutritionists in hospitality, you can please post your questions. Pranati is here to answer all your queries. And yeah, it's been how long that you are into hospitality, Pranati?
For me, it's been more than now 4 years.
Awesome.
So since you asked this question, I would also would like to thank and recognize my superiors also. The first one was like my Vanita College HOD, who's Chitkala Rajan. She is the one who seeded the earthworm of nutrition in me. And then later on, I have got an opportunity to work with Dr. Arun Pillai. He's also from South India. I worked with him for more than 3 years in Lonavala Hilton Shilim. So that is again a one more chance for me to open the doors in terms of hospitality. He really pulled me up, encouraging me. The whole 360 degrees has turned out me. And then the third person is Chef Kuntal. He's from North India, who is currently my boss over here. So he's like a walking encyclopedia. So all these three people were like a three pillars for me in my entire career of the nutrition and even the education. So as we say that managers are a breaker or a maker of the the staff.
Right.
So you should have a right kind of organization and bosses around you to make you unwind yourself, to implement, to think out of the box, to implement something in a system. Is without their encouragement, without their recognition, I would have not been here where I am today.
Awesome.
Wow.
Great.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And so that's a great perspective, in fact.
Right.
Anybody is interested to ask questions can unmute and ask questions.
Those who are on Zoom, you can just unmute and you can post your questions here. Pranati is here to answer your questions. And yeah,
Dietitian Durga Kumari, Vani, Shalini, Vanilla.
హలో జానకి గారు.
Hi, Vani.
hi Vani garu.
హాయ్ మయూరి గారు, ఎలా ఉన్నారు?
Yeah, we are good. How are you?
ఐఎమ్ గుడ్ అండి. హాయ్ ప్రణతి, హౌ ఆర్ యూ?
I'm good, thank you.
So long back I saw you as a candidate for a small job in a small firm, Pranati. Do you remember?
Okay.
At Hyderabad itself.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure actually, but if I see you in
I
person,
met you in Label Kukatpalli. You are continuously in touch with me on WhatsApp as well. This is Dr. Vani.
okay. Dr. Meera. Okay. I mean,
Hello, no,
thank you. I mean, I
Pranati.
couldn't recognize you with the voice. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah. So it was a little late, but I could catch you up somehow.
Lovely,
It's really great to see you on screen, Pranati. You are looking awesome.
Thank
And finally, like God's wish is like you landed up in heaven's place. So everybody,
Yeah.
it's everybody's wish to be there at least once in their lifetime. All the very best and congratulations to you.
Thank you so
Pranati,
much.
my question is like, just what is the scope for dietitians in such resorts? Will there be any growth or any like will they can explore further or any upgradation or what to say, like any opportunities further? I just wanted to know like exactly what are the stages of the nutrition to grow in such resorts.
Okay, sure. I'll explain.
Yes.
So initially, if it's if we have a good exposure in nutrition, if we have at least of 2 years experience, then any of these retreats would hire us. So initially, we start as a nutritionist itself, a junior nutritionist or an assistant nutritionist. Then with the skill set and everything, we would get promotions. The growth is, I would say that the growth is really fast in hospitality compared to the clinical setup. So because here the in and out exposure is more, and there are more wellness retreats coming in even in India and abroad as well. So the chances, the scope and the upgradation is on a very high, huge demand. And when it comes to the upgradation at one position to another position, we start with as a junior assistant nutritionist, and then we become a nutritionist, and then we become a assistant manager for that specific vertical, and then we become a manager and we lead that specific vertical of entire nutrition and dietetics. So like now I'm currently oversees the vertical of nutrition here. So after this, you will surely have an opportunities like you go into operationals. Once you are done with your nutrition, you mark your presence as a very strong, then you turn yourself into an operations. So even in this, you can continue as a cluster nutritionist for 2 to 3 similar sister properties. If that specific organization has more than 2 organization under them, you can become a cluster nutritionist for both of the organization. If this company doesn't have 2 different kind of properties, then you can become a operations head, wherein you not only no longer will be only a nutritionist, but also you take care of the other operations in the wellness department. So after the operations manager, you become a wellness operations manager, and then you become a entire manager for the whole department, where you will have a team of 30 odd people who are reporting to you. So all these will actually will not take much of our time if we have a passion to learn this subject more, if we really wanted to upskill ourselves. But the skill set which is needed for upgradation is really vast. We need to undergo a couple of certification. We need to undergo a lot of like a lot of learning skills. We should learn so much to reach that stage. So it's like a nutritionist is your basic, is your pillar, is your foundation. But from the nutritionist, you need to learn about how to run the operation smoothly. You need to learn about the hospitality. You need to have that leadership skills to maintain a team of 20 odd people whom you are reporting to. You are accountable for really massive chunk of financial involvement is in here. For a right candidate, we really have a great opportunity. The In terms of growth compared to a clinical setups, it's vast.
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
Great, great, Pranati. All the very best.
Thank
Keep
you so
rocking.
much.
Keep rocking.
Yeah, sure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Somebody sent a message.
Yeah.
Vanilla.
Vanilla. So she's a student of Chitkala ma'am from Vanita College. So she's so proud of you, ma'am, that you belongs to Vanita College. Vanilla is saying.
Thank you.
So when a fresher joins, how much the pay would be, and to what extent they can grow
Yeah.
in terms of payment?
Yeah. So in India, if we work in any kind of these wellness-based centers or resorts, the pay would initially start off with some 30,000 per month, which is very that's a minimal thing. What a nutritionist should get in these kind of setups. Anything lesser than this is not ideally like I do not recommend to join, because the kind of work we give back to the society is really huge. So 30K per month is what a junior entry level nutritionist should get in, and she can easily get in through this much salary. And in India, it can even vary to stage by stage. It would even vary to 1.5 lakh per month.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, Shalini is asking, do we have openings in Hyderabad? Yeah, regarding the opportunities and how do we, the placements and all.
Yeah.
If you can enlighten the
Yeah.
students about that, it would be great.
Sure. So basically, the one need to be really very active in the LinkedIn. One need to get those subscribe to those job alerts in hospitality industry. Like we have like Job King website, and most of the other. When you type hotel industry or hospitality wellness centers, you get like hundreds of websites rolled out. And then when you subscribe to their job offers, job alerts, you will definitely get notified whenever they have an opening. If this would take really time, but it's not easy. And in India, still we are still picking up. So to be frank, in India we have little lesser opportunities when compared to outer world. But in order to get job in and apart from India, we need to first mark our presence, shine in India first, then we have to go to another country. So yeah, being more active in the social media, that's how even I got my previous job in some random Facebook groups. So there is no hidden charges or hidden involvement in this. It's purely our own research and search what we how we get to there. So talking about especially in Hyderabad, yeah, in Hyderabad also we have wellness centers. Now before it wasn't a wellness, but now all the slimming centers have termed themselves as a wellness center. That's the biggest advantage for entire dietetic profession, I would say. The moment moment they say wellness, everything is changed again. We no longer stick ourselves only to lose fat or lose weight. We call ourselves as, to be healthy, to be more, and the well-being should be enhanced more. So it's a good thing that the entire industry is changing from slimming centers to the wellness centers, which is a good thing, and which opens the doors for the nutritionist more. So yeah, you have to be really constant and be more consistent about your searches.
Super.
Yeah.
How is Maldives? We always hear Maldives as a Maldives. Its word itself is a retreat place.
Yeah.
So how is it like in general society, general life? How is it there?
Yeah, so it is good. It is indeed a tourist place. So most of the visitors are nationalities from different kind of countries. So we get used to really multi, nationalities with regards to that. Tourism is really good. The whole revenue of Maharashtra, Maldivian revenue depends on the just the tourists, nothing else. People are nicer here, people are good here, very encouraging, very they really have a helping nature, a visible helping nature. And yeah, it's, I mean, for me, no regrets. I made a best decision to move here.
Great.
Okay.
And you want to grow your clan there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, like, coming to the wellness retreats, as you said, like definitely we have to move from the, the place where we are staying, more or
Yeah.
less, right? So how about, you would be getting accommodation within the retreat centers, or how it is? And, how about your day-to-day these things and all? Now that you're in Maldives, I just got this question. So yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, in most of the wellness retreats, it's actually not in the cities, because, like, wellness is all about unwinding yourself. So they don't put up any kind of wellness centers right in middle of the city where you can hear
Yes.
the traffic noise and also it's always far from the cities, far from the human mankind, somewhere in the dense forest. Like my previous organization in Lonavala, it is in middle of nowhere, like nobody knows how to reach there. There is no public transportation over there. You have to really depend on the organization transportation alone. So I mean, it's really like up and down every single day, going up for 1 hour, going down again 1 hour. The nature immersive thing is really good. So considering the kind of this thing what we have, indeed the company will provide us everything, the food, accommodation, transportation, everything. Most of the retreats they would provide us. So we really do not have much challenges, if we like our job more, if we really want to mark our presence over here, to stand unique, then I don't think anybody would have any sort of complaints. I mean, it's also again end of the day adjustments. When you are starting your at your career level, you we have to be really very accommodative, and we should adjust, and we should come out of our comfort zone in order to earn such good name and fame in this industry. So yeah, there were so many adjustments which we have to made in, like, like we born in Hyderabad, in especially South India, we are all rice eaters. But the moment you come out of your state, you no longer have much of rice. You have to depend on pastas all the round the clock for all three meals. So it's lot of adjustment which one must have to really grow in across. But I would give to all the junior nutritionists over there, it's a matter of adjustment. You still have your healthy choices. The way you look at the food is all about you. You still have healthy food, you still have unhealthy food. It's your choice what you want to take in your plate. So but don't give up. So one thing what I generally see in budding nutritionists now is that they generally have this tendency of giving up things so quickly after 2 months into the to something internship, or after 2 months into any kind of the slimming care or something. They just give up because they have been asked to do some marketing or promotions or something. So, like, just bear with them for 1 year, get the exposure, get the experience, then you move out. That patience is something which is needed for all of us to shine in our professions.
Wow,
Very true.
what an experience you are having.
Yeah.
Really.
And much needed message too for the
Yes.
current generation students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Very
current generation, they're really, they want everything very quickly done and
Too quick.
too quick, too quick. And that's why too quickly they leave. They very
Yes.
quickly they take decision.
Yeah,
Endurance, perseverance is key to success.
success.
true.
Yes. So yes, audience, dietitian Praniti is here. So any other questions you have, you can just post it here. She's here to answer your queries. And yes, doctor. So I
And
not
if
many questions.
if anybody after this also, this video will be there in the Facebook, so you can always post under this video, so Praniti can answer.
Indeed, I would love to
Yeah.
answer. Please ask the questions, because nobody knows that there is a nutritionist exist. There is a
Yeah.
profession called this kind of profession is exist. So like we need to really upskill ourselves in order to mark our presence even in these kind of setups. So if at all any questions, I'm glad to answer you all.
So what are the other skill set that we have to get experienced, or we have to learn or go through internship, or what are
Yeah.
the things that we have to?
Yeah, so from the beginning, we should be little more. I mean, the day when anybody have decided to study a nutrition, it all should start from even before the college, even before maybe right after you pass out the 10th class. That's when in Hyderabad we choose intermediate, either MPC or BPC. So the day you choose the BPC, the day you decided to become a nutritionist, that's when you have to really skill up your knowledge, not just about the book knowledge. I mean, this is not something, I don't want to sound it demotivating, but book knowledge coming out of the university with 100% marks does not actually make us shine. But it's more what we commute to the clients or to the patients. So what we read in a books and how we portray that to the patients, it's all different level of thing, which we would not get to learn in universities. So it's all about the practical exposure. The more during your student days, you should be able to give back, write back some stories, write back some blogs, write back some articles, go around, go to your nearby schools, go to your school where you studied, and tell that you would like to give some basics of nutrition to the students out there. Maybe in parents teachers meeting, a half an hour, ask them, request them to give you a half an hour to tell about the food and nutrition, the importance of nutrition in the school teens or adolescents, how important it plays. So by doing these kind of activities, you really go grow yourself on. Yeah, not all schools might accept you. You don't need to get paid of these things. It's just you're doing it for your own purpose. You're building up your confidence. I have done that like n number of things in schools, colleges, in corporate offices. I have contributed so many blogs to just to get a feature in their channel, just to get a feature in their website. They do give credit to us. So they should not expect something, everything in a return, in a money format, or monetary transaction. But all these things will get paid off at later stages of our career. So all these things you put in your resume, then you add a more and more weightage to the resume. Now truly speaking, in this current situation, if any wellness retreat is looking for a nutritionist to hire, they would they would see certain kind of parameters in you to get into. Like like if you are a nutritionist who worked in a hospital, so you have a good great clinical knowledge, one dietitian is like this. Another dietitian is one who has really into blogs and vlogs and videos, cookery shows and all, podcast, all of this thing. Another dietitian has neither has a great clinical knowledge nor is into articles or stuff like that. So definitely the wellness manager would look into hiring the second one, who has greater exposure in hospital and also at the same time articles, communicating, giving workshops, giving seminars, and all of these things. So my whole point of highlighting these things is that most of us are, are not unwinding ourselves, are only focused on the university books, are only focused on how to get a 100% marks, how to get a great subject knowledge. Yes, you need subject knowledge, you need clinical strong pillars, but the competition in this profession is also really fast. It's not easy to get a job in these kind of sectors, because we have spent more than 5 years in this profession, more than 6 years to get a qualified dietitian tagline. But we see people who study 6 weeks crash course and call themselves as a nutritionist. The reason behind, we can't stop them. I mean, come on. I mean, in most of the countries we still don't have law in order to stop this. Till that time we need to fight ourselves to mark our presence unique in this profession. They are good because they're more communicative than us. Although they study 6 weeks, they don't know what is ascorbic acid. We know what is ascorbic acid, but they know how to promote themselves in vitamin C rich foods, what orange does to your skin. They know about it. They are able to commute to the common people more than compared to us, because we have spent all our years in university studying the books, biochemistry, understanding all of these things, but we didn't focus ourselves much on to commuting others, giving seminars, promoting ourselves. All these things we are missing out. So when you can able to do your upskill your things from the day you thought that you wanted to become a nutritionist, then your entire nutrition career will really shine.
Wow.
What an awesome
Awesome.
speech that is, really. You really nailed it. We need to harness our skills.
Very true.
Communication is the key in nutrition profession, even in any setup,
Yes.
whether it's
Yeah.
wellness or illness, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Communication is the key. And whatever you tell, the client has to understand, whether it's a patient or a client or a guest. If they don't understand, they don't get what you're telling, then there's no point. The whole point is lost.
Yeah,
So
true.
that's really awesome. And you also highlighted that people who are not nutritionists are playing the role of nutritionists in these kind of setups. And they are more communicative because probably half knowledge kind of thing. But it's still, but still, as you said, we need to put ourselves in various stages and show ourselves strongly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then only we can actually shine, as you said. Great.
Great.
Wow. Nice.
Yes.
I'm very happy to have you.
Thank
Very
you. It's an honor for me.
so
Honor is ours.
also, Pranati, you were mentioning about some opportunities, recent opportunities in Maldives. If you can, just let our students know about it, maybe it would be a help for them too.
Yeah, sure. So there are a couple of retreats also in the Maldives who are actually looking for the intern nutritionist and junior nutritionist within the Maldives. So you can go to the Google and search of the jobs in Maldives, especially in the wellness retreats, and subscribe to those job alerts, because post COVID has actually made us like it's opened the zip of the entire blindness to the human mankind, what they were all wearing all these years. Now they know the importance of health. Now they know that how to give time to themselves. So with the same intention, now the wellness retreats are like booming. Wellness industry is like it's extremely $1 billion industry it's going to be. And most importantly, places like Maldives, places like Himalayas in India, and places like Nepal, Sri Lanka, all these countries has a scope in wellness, and they are opening the more of wellness retreat at the moment now. So this is the right time for us to be more conscious, be more mindful in your searches and everything, and hit the right opportunity. Upskill your time. This is the great time to upskill yourselves and search and search and search, so you will be able to crack the interview.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Nice all every time we asked your question, you gave us one take home message, which is really something.
Janaki,
And
one question
oh,
from my side. It's a doubt, of course.
mm.
How about the leaves and all for the people who are working at Maldives? Like if they have to visit their parents, would the management would be taking the responsibility of booking the tickets and all? Like exactly what is the procedure for the leaves and visiting India or somewhere else?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, in any like the other organizations, even in Maldives also, most of the wellness retreat will take care of their staff, food, accommodation, transportation, depending upon the level, depending upon the position which you are in. It depends if they pay you once in a year for aid transfers, or say once in 6 months, like that. But in most of the retreats, yes, the company will take care of. We will have again, it depends on the company to company. You will have at least of minimum 20 leaves per year, which you can avail it anytime, depending upon the work, depending upon your operations. You can avail it anytime during the year.
Okay.
Right, Pranati. How about security, your privacy, and other things like being unmarried? Like it's a like you will be far from your parents and your family, right? Like how about the security thing? Like it will be, is it safe to be there? Because if somebody asks me, so I would be able to tell them like it's quite safe and you can go there and you can earn your thing.
Firstly, thank you so much for highlighting this question. It is people needs to know about these aspects, especially for an Indian woman before marriage, to send their daughter to some other country or some other, even in that matter, some other state, is also a big thing for us. So especially like in our Telugu culture, it's very rare we see that somebody unmarried woman traveling out for a job purpose. So my family also had these kind of taboos, inhibitions, when I was about to travel. So this all started back in when I traveled from Hyderabad to Maharashtra for my work. So you should first things first. First thing is, you should have confidence on you that you can pull it out at any situation. But first, I would straight away answer your question and then come back to before that. So yes, Maldives is indeed safest country. It's same like India. You I mean, in fact, it's more strict than India. Like there are so many things which is not very legal here, like alcohol. It's not legal here. Like you can't drink wherever you want it, and they give utmost respect towards the woman. It's more or less like an Islamic country, but they give so much of importance to the woman. The way we dress up, the way we go out, the way we live in, is extremely safe. You will have all around cameras, eyes on you. Nobody can take any advantage not even to touch you. Forget about rest of the things, but most importantly, Maldives is a place wherein you will have an islands where you will be placed off one specific islands, where you have constant monitoring across. Even if there is no monitoring, nobody going to do anything to you. You will It is an extremely safest place to live. And also, as a parents, one should not, you know I mean, maybe probably I would understand when I become parent, but I would say that as a parent, you should also make your children to get exposed to so many things in their career. Like for example, my parents did had they were also scared to send me out of Hyderabad initially 4 years ago. But then I requested them that I'll just be there for 6 months and I'll be back. that 6 months went on to 5 years, and I'm here today. So it all depends on, like, how our daughter would convince the parents, the amount of opportunities, the amount of doors which she has in front, the career opportunities to open up is all defines us as a person. At the same time, as a daughter, you shouldn't break their trust. At any given point of time from last 5 years, I've never broke the trust of my family. So never let them down, because it's for an Indian parents, it's not easy for them to choose their daughter to send to some other country for a work purpose before their marriage. I'm unmarried. So for them, they also, Indian culture is also largely driven by the family values. We are very cultured. I mean, most of the things, our parents decision would depend on our grandfathers, grandparents, and their sisters and their elders. So at any given point of time, we should not let their head down for anything. We should always, I mean, we know why we came here, to get a good name, to earn something, to give back to the society something. That's all your motto should be. Don't engage yourself into unnecessary random things. There is still time for us to be stay happy with the family or a partner in future. So yeah, never break them trust. Nobody will going to stop you.
Great, great. As far as safety is concerned, nowhere a girl is safe, I can say. But why I
Yeah.
ask the question is, like, basically Maldives, in the sense, usually people will go for their refreshment or their vacation, or usually for their enjoyment. So that is that.
Yeah.
Ask that question, like, whether is it safe place for a girl
Yeah.
work there. That's it.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Thank you
indeed.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Super. Finally, it all boils down to oneself, how you're going
Absolutely.
to behave
Yeah.
self. Of course, certain things may not be in our control at certain times. Anything can happen at any time, anywhere.
True.
But still, we need to be on our guard always.
Yeah.
So, shall we
Yes.
close?
Yes, doctor. We are good to go.
Before closing, I have a request to Pranati. Is there any opportunity for a retiring nutritionist?
No. You shouldn't retire so soon. You have a lot of energy. Don't call yourself retire, because people like you will actually will make us to be inspired. It gives us, it opens our thing, that even at this age you can be more active. I mean, just to take an example, you need not have to do like every single Tuesdays, take out your personal time and do these kind of things. You need not, but you have that intention, strong desire to give back something to the society, to
Yeah.
make them aware of the opportunities about the health, about the medical stuff, or something like that. So same like that, you don't know how many people are getting inspired from you. So if you
Right.
stop here, if you call yourself as a retirement, then you shouldn't do that. So yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Janaki, with you.
Okay.
Let me know.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
have
sure.
any plan.
Yeah, let's start a
Plan a
retreat, wellness center. You have all the experience of a slimming center too, so we can do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have a place also. We'll discuss.
Any new this thing, Dr. Janaki will
I'll be
always have
jumping.
always have a plan.
That keeps me motivated. That's it.
Very true. I mean, that is something which inspires us.
Yeah,
So
something
especially
new. Something big.
especially we as youngsters, that is something which inspires us. You always
Okay.
have a plan for anything.
Yeah.
Janaki garu explores ideas.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Yes, doctor.
So thank you so much, Pranati, for giving us a lot of insight into hospital industry and the role of nutritionists here. So we can close here, and we look forward for some more. Maybe very specifically, we may have a few other sessions like detox practices in
Yeah.
or physical activity or how a nutritionist would scale up herself to operations level, and those kind of
Yeah.
things we can
Sure.
have as an individual. Whenever you find time, we can have
Anytime, anytime.
next year. Next year,
Yeah, next year.
2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I thank dietitian Pranati for being here on Tea Talks Tuesday and giving us such a great, deep insights about how a nutritionist can explore in hospitality industry too. Thank you so much, Pranati, for being here, and yeah, looking forward to meet you again. As said by Dr.
Thank
Janki,
you.
any
Thank you.
topic
Thank you
specific.
very much.
So thank you all for today's episode. See you all next Tuesday, same time, same place. Bye for today. Bye, everyone.